Hello everyone, I am Prerna Garg, Assistant Professor, Jaipuria Institute of Management, Indrapuram, Ghaziabad. I welcome you all to my next lecture on media planning process. So in the previous lectures, we have already discussed the concept of media planning. We have discussed at length what is media planning and media strategy. We have also discussed different terms that are associated with media planning. We have talked about reach, we have talked about coverage, we have talked about frequency and different media options that are available with the planner. In this lecture, we would be taking forward the media planning process. So, in the previous lecture, we have already done with the first step of the media planning process, that was market analysis. And I am pretty sure we all are in a position to recap or revise or recall the three important areas of the market analysis. So, I would like to remind you once again that the first step of media planning was market analysis, and the second step talks about setting of the media objectives, which we will be covering in this lecture. The first step of market analysis have already talked about the target audience. How do I identify which segment of the market is having more potential, which segment of the market is having less potential. Second, we have already talked about the internal and external factors that affect any media planning process or media strategy. And the third dimension of the market analysis that we have discussed in the previous lecture was focusing on identifying the geographical area which is having more potential and a geographical area which is having less potential. So, as a marketer, not every geographical area would have equal potential for me to advertise or go for the advertising expenditure. Therefore, on the basis of two important indexes, that is the brand development index and category development index, marketers have formulated 4 zones. They have formulated a matrix of 2 by 2 wherein they have identified combination of low BDI, low CDI, high BDI, high CDI, high BDI, low CDI and high CDI and low BDI. So, marketers have come up with these 4 combinations, and they have identified in which segments they should go for more advertising expenditure and in which segments they should probably curb their expenditure, they should pause and then gradually proceed. After market analysis, we move to the second step of the media planning process, and that talk about the media objectives. Now, I am pretty sure that most of us are aware of the term the term called media objectives. Media objectives, or in general objectives, we have been discussing since very long. So, media objectives are the goals or series of statements that are specifying what exactly my media plan can accomplish through a media strategy. To be precise, media objectives are measurable. They are measurable statements that will actually tell me what my media plan intends to achieve after doing so much in that. So, I as a media planner would probably look forward to certain objectives or certain statements or certain expressions wherein I can identify, yes, okay, this is one thing that I would like to achieve through my media plan. Second, this would be the second thing, this would be the third thing. Why am I doing this? Why is any media planner setting these objectives? They are setting these objectives because without setting objectives, it would not be possible to evaluate whether you are able to achieve those targets or not. So, they are like goals to a media planner expressed in concrete form, expressed on the basis of certain parameters that would facilitate the decision making of the media planner and help them ascertain whether they are able to reach those goals after a successful media planning or not. It is very critical because this step will help them assess the performance of their entire media strategy. The success or the failure of the media strategy will be based on how measurable, how concrete and how worthy media objectives they were able to set. Now, when I say they have to be designed very critically, they should be measurable. So, here comes the question, how would any media planner design media objectives? And here is the answer. Media objectives are usually expressed in terms of these three areas, 3 key words, that is coverage, reach and frequency and scheduling. Now, this is very interesting to discuss today. When I say let me first brief you with the definitions of these three words and then we will discuss them at length. When marketers say coverage, coverage means marketer would like to express the objective, media objective in the form of the market coverage, the level or the number of audience that they would, or the percentage of audience that they would like to like their media or their message to be exposed to. So, let us take an example. For say for coverage, any marketer would like to design a media objective like they would like the message to be targeted to a target audience, 80% of the target audience through a broadcasting media in another 3 months. So, the media marketer, the media planner here means is in another 3 months they want to use broadcasting medium to communicate their message to the target audience, and that to 80% of the target audience. So, when they have used these words that they want to use a specific media, that is broadcasting, they have said they want to target 80% of the target audience, they are talking about coverage, and that too in a time frame of 3 months. So, this is how the first media objective can be designed, and the figures can definitely vary for different media planners. Second term is reach and frequency. We have already deliberated on these two words in the previous sessions, but I would still like to touch upon them once again. Reach. Reach means the number of target audience, the number of audience that the message would be exposed to. Now, when I say they would be exposed to, this is the actual audience rather than the coverage part, which was not the actual audience. So, reach is saying let's design the statement or objective for reach. So, when the marketers reach and frequency here is different from what dictionary meaning we understand out of frequency. The frequency here means the number of times my target audience would be exposed to a specific media vehicle and not necessarily the ad. That means they may not be exposed to your ad, but yes, they are exposed to that media vehicle that you are choosing. Therefore, reach and frequency are talking about, reach is talking about the number of people more, and frequency is talking about the number of times they would be exposed. So, when I say this, the media planners have again attempted to design an objective based on reach and frequency. So, let us again assume a statement that the second objective of a media planner becomes that they intend to reach 60% of the target audience at least 3 times in the coming 3 months. Now, there are again 3 catches in this statement, in this objective. They are saying we want to reach 60% of the target audience at least 3 times in another 3 months. So, this media objective have covered both the reach and the frequency part. Coming to the third that is scheduling. Now, what is scheduling? This is new. Scheduling means, we all know the basic meaning of schedule. So, scheduling here means marketers, every marketer would probably love to make sure that that their campaign, advertising campaign or advertisement is there in the market 24/7, 365 days, but it may not always be so. Not just because of the budget that they may have to use, that would probably be the last factor affecting it, but because of n number of reasons. Therefore, they have to be very sure about when, at what time their advertisement should be available in the market. Should it be available throughout? Should it be available on intermittent gaps, or should it have a different combination that we will discuss again? So, scheduling is purely talking about the spontaneity of the message in the market among the target audience. So, again, if a media planner is here to decide a media objective on the basis of scheduling, they may probably design an objective like most of the advertisement or the commercial or the media campaign would be highest in the months of January, February and March, and would be weakest or lowest in the months of August and September, depending upon the nature of the brand, of course. And so, when they have talked about these seasonalities, they are talking about scheduling. So, this is how the 3 aspects of media objectives, expressing the media objectives, can be covered. I hope the examples are pretty clear, because every aspect from coverage, reach and frequency and scheduling have been expressed in the form of a media objective, as I have just discussed. Now, let's understand the target audience. When I say target audience, we have already talked about media objectives. So, we are in a position to understand the coverage, the reach frequency and scheduling. Now, we will understand the target audience coverage. When the marketers say, I would try to cover everybody in the market, okay, or the target audience. This is the usual scenario that they come across, these 4 pies that we can see. What they are actually trying to communicate here. The first pie is this yellow segment, as you can see here, is the target market out of the total market that the media planner is having. Ideally, any media planner would probably wish to cover the entire target market through its message or through its advertisement. This would be an ideal situation, but this ideal situation usually do not appear. That means, this situation as depicted in the second quadrant usually do not appear, because it is very difficult to ensure and then measure that the entire target market have been covered. What usually arises, these two, that is either partial market coverage or excessive coverage, exceeding market coverage or waste market coverage. Now, let us understand what these two are. What usually happens is the target market as shown in the yellow quadrant, but the marketers are not able to cover the full market. That means, their message is not usually exposed to the entire target market that they were intending to. This results in partial market coverage. And next situation, which again arises very often, rather some of the marketers usually go for it intentionally. I will explain it how. They go for coverage exceeding the market. That means, this was the target market, but their media message, their advertisement is covering more audience than the target market. Ideally, this part, media overexposure, is also called the waste coverage. Now, for a marketer, ideally again this is the wastage of resources, time, energy and efforts, because you are exposing your message to an audience which was not your target market. But then the question is, which one would be better for a marketer, this or this? I think obviously we would go for this, but what would be the condition? If a marketer can make sure that overexposure or over coverage exceeding the target market, the cost incurred in this particular portion, that is the cost incurred in advertising to a proportion that is exceeding the target market, is comparatively less than the cost, then the profits that you are generating out of the target market, then you should definitely go for this one. What I mean to say is, let us assume a marketer of brand of soft drink, they have identified that during any cricket match they would be going with their media campaign again and again. So, they have put up a commercial on the television during the entire match, cricket match. The advertisement was coming again and again of a soft drink brand. Now, there would be a good amount of target population who are not interested in soft drinks. That means, they are going for this one. That means, they are also exposing their message to an audience who were not their target market, but still they went for this strategy. Why? Because they have understood that this way, even if there is an amount of people, there is a percentage of people who would not go with your brand, who are not even wanting to look at your commercial, but then again there is a good amount of, there is a huge chunk of people who are looking after your ad, who are interested in your ad again and again. Therefore, the profits that you will be able to capture from those who are watching your ad, who are your target audience, is far much more than who are actually ignoring your commercial. Therefore, there is no harm in going for coverage exceeding the market in comparison to leaving that target market uncovered, which could have definitely helped a marketer. I hope the target market audience coverage is clear till here. The second aspect of the media objective, that is the reach and frequency. Now, again there is a trade-off between these two words, as we have discussed earlier also. The trade-off here is, every marketer wants to maximize the reach, means they want to reach maximum amount of target audience, and the trade-off comes with the frequency. That means, they also want the number of times to be increased, The confusion here is to how many and how often. This is the trade-off in reach and frequency. Now, marketers are trying to balance both of them. How they are doing that? If we look at these two, you will be getting the answer. They say in order to maintain a balance between reach and frequency, that means I as a media planner want to reach most of the target audience members or majority as far as I can, and then I also want to increase the frequency, that is the number of times that they would be exposed to the media vehicle also. When I am trying to do this, I have to balance them. So, I said let us assume I as a media planner have put my advertisement on one media vehicle. The number of people who are getting exposed to that media vehicle 1 is this orange portion, is denoted by this orange portion, and then I put my advertisement on media vehicle 2. The number of people who are getting exposed to media vehicle 2 are denoted by these blue, the blue area. If I assume that these two were different set of customers who were getting exposed to my message through different mediums, then I am talking about the unduplicated reach. I am saying that yes, these customers have seen my ad through media vehicle 1, these customers have seen my ad through media vehicle 2, and I am fine with it because this is an unduplicated reach of both. So, if this is the scenario, the marketer have increased the reach of their advertisements, different set of customers. While if the situation, anybody may would ask, there can be the possibility that same set of customers have seen the ad on both the mediums. There can be a scenario like this. If this happens, this would be the situation. That means there were a substantial amount of people who have seen your advertisement on media vehicle 1 as well as media vehicle 2. That means this is called the reach of two programs. If this is the case, the common customers that are denoted with this green area, they are the ones who have got exposed to your message through two different media vehicles. That means you have also worked on the frequency part. As a media planner, this was what you actually intended to do. You wanted to reach to a larger amount of people, potential customers, target audience, and you also wanted people who would see your message on different media vehicles. So, marketers have achieved this objective by ensuring a better reach through different media options. Therefore, this is the reason why any marketer usually go for an advertisement through different media vehicles. If they would not have been looking after increasing the reach, probably they would just put their advertisement into one media vehicle, but no, they are going for different media vehicles because they know that this would also increase their reach if the customers are different, and if the customers are overlapping, this would increase their frequency. So, anyways, this is a profitable deal for the media planners from both the sides. Moving on to how they actually determine the frequency, this is pretty simple. There are certain factors that may affect the frequency, that how often should they communicate their message before the target audience. So, when I talk about frequency, the but obvious factors are, the more is the brand loyalty, the more brand loyals you are having in the market, the less frequency would be fine, inversely proportional. The brand history of a brand is good, is high, the low frequency would also go, again inversely proportional. Brand share, the more is the brand share in the market, even low frequency would again work, inversely proportional. Target market, now this is important because marketers have to understand the type of target market they are catering to. If the target market is wise enough, they can articulate the meaning of your advertisement, probably a less frequency would also work. But if the target market is less literate or is probably not in a position to articulate everything from your message, then you have to increase the frequency. Purchase cycle, the shorter is the purchase cycle, the more is the frequency required. Similarly, nature of the message that you have designed, that is the advertisement that you have designed, the more complex is the advertisement, the more number of time people would want to see it, to understand it, to infer the meaning out of it, and vice versa. Therefore, if the message is simple, the customers, target audience would probably not look after the repetition of that particular message. So, a simple message would probably do with less frequency, and the complex message would require repetition. Another word is uniqueness. Now, when I say uniqueness, every marketer is working on the creative aspect of a message. So, if your message, if your advertisement is having something unique attached to it, it is directly linked with the memory. The more is the tendency of it to be get stored in the memory of the consumer. So, anything unique in the message part, in the advertisement part, hits the memory of the consumers very easily. So, the more is the uniqueness in the message, the less frequency would go, and vice versa. That means, if your message, if your advertisement is very plain with nothing very appealing or very differentiated, then probably you would have to go for a good amount of repetitions to convince people or to communicate your message that yes, we are also there. And the last point says the nature of campaign. If your campaign is new in the market, that means if you have designed something creative and you are coming with a different ad campaign in the market, then you have to increase the awareness of the people first of all. And when you talk about awareness, you have to work on the reach and the frequency part also. Whereas, if your campaign is already continuing in the market, that means you were already there in the market, you have just added something onto it, or you have just designed something new or creative in it, you have just played with some scenes, you have just come up with some different variant, then the people were already aware of you. Therefore, you do not need to put in too much efforts on the frequency part. So, the new is the campaign, the more frequency is required, and if it is a continuing campaign, the frequency can be low as well. So, this was about the reach and frequency as the second aspect of deciding the media objective. Now, here come the third part, that is the scheduling methods, important. I have just told you a few minutes back that scheduling talks about the spontaneity of the message in the market. Every marketer look forward that they should have their ad in the market throughout. But again, as I have said, it is not only about the confinement of resources or budget, it is about several other factors that forces them to identify certain sequencing pattern. The three sequencing pattern or scheduling pattern that are available with the marketers are these three. The first is continuity. Continuity here means when a marketer wants the advertisement to be available in the market or to that message to be exposed to the target audience for all the time, that is probably any fixed levels that you have designed, like on every day or once in every week, once in every month, or 10 times a day or 5 times, whatever you want to fix as a media planner, that will remain continuous over the time. This was the first scheduling pattern. This pattern is usually adopted by brands that are into the nature of convenience goods, staple products, soaps, detergents, shampoos. We find their advertisements on the television, radio, newspaper probably all the time. So, they are following this pattern and they are comparatively finer in this. The second part 4 talks about flighting. This scheduling method says that you need not put your message or advertisements before the target audience all over the time. You will have to identify, as a media planner, you will have to identify certain peak seasons in the market wherein your sales are usually high. You should launch your advertisement at that particular time. When you know that your product is seasonal in nature and it does not require to be aired or printed all the time, you should stop your advertisement from that particular time. Therefore, these gaps are there. That let us say take an example of a product like Vardhaman knitting yarn. They are into wool. So, when we talk about winters, we suddenly see that the Vardhaman knitting yarn has started advertising in winters, while they have stopped advertising in summers because their product was completely seasonal, and they have understood that advertising their product during summers would probably make no sense, and this would lead to more loss of coverage or loss of customers or resources. Therefore, this is how the marketers work. But there are some marketers who believes we would not be continuous and we would not be going for intermittent advertising also. We need a combination of these, and the combination comes in the form of pulsing. Pulsing as a third scheduling method is a combination of continuity and flighting, which says the marketers will keep their advertising throughout, but they would increase the level of advertising during certain points of time. Let's take an example of soft drinks. Soft drink advertisement would be available in the market throughout the year, but then when summers come, the advertisements all of a sudden increases. When winter comes, the advertisements are there, but they are seen less often. That means you are playing with that advertisements wherein you are putting more emphasis or more time at a certain point of time, and you are reducing it at the another point of time. Now, here is the media strategy. The third step of media planning process talks about, this is what we already have discussed. We have developed the media mix, we have talked about the market coverage, reach, frequency, scheduling, geographical coverage, everything. Now, when the marketers are done with these two first steps, they have developed and implemented this strategy. Now, while they are developing, they have to look forward to the budget consideration, and here are the two methods of budgets: absolute cost and relative cost, and cost per thousand or cost per CPRP. Now, CPM as a budget consideration which cannot be ignored. Therefore, print media is usually using this method of calculating the relative cost, the budget consideration. So, media options like print media options like newspapers, magazines, they usually calculates the cost on the basis of CPM, that is cost of ad space divided by circulation into 1000, whereas all the broadcasting media usually calculate the cost in the terms of CPRP, that is cost of commercial time divided by the program rating. So, depending upon which media option you are going for in the media planning, a marketer may choose the budget consideration, calculate which media option is more suited according to the budget consideration. Once the marketer has done this step also, the last step of the media planning is evaluation and follow up, wherein they will be finally measuring how well their strategies are able to achieve their media objectives and how well this media plan contribute to attaining the overall marketing and communication objectives. So, if the marketers are in the final step of media planning process, they are able to measure that yes, their strategies have successfully measured their objectives, they successfully met the media objectives, keeping the budget considerations into view, they would definitely find it to be successful, and if not, they would have to identify the weak areas and remove the redundancy, redesign the media planning process and work in the similar fashion. With this, we come to the end of the entire media planning process, wherein we have discussed at length all the 4 steps of media planning process and how the marketers will actually evaluate whether their media planning and strategy was successful and whether their media objectives were achieved or not. Thank you all.